Today is Tuesday, February 17th, Chris Quinn's birthday, and you're listening to the Beer Temple Podcast.
Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again.
Hello and welcome to the Beer Temple Podcast. I am your co-host, Mike Shalau of Is Was Brewing. I'm here with your other co-host, Chris Quinn of the Beer Temple. Chris, it's your birthday. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Happy birthday.
It is my birthday. Thank you. Very nice of you to say so.
22?
49.
Woo.
I'm very, very old. So, yeah.
Crying of the lot, huh?
Yeah, I'm at the age where you can't pretend to not be just straight up old. No one
48,
says,
you were getting away with it.
No one says, no, I've been there for a little bit, but no one says 49 is the new anything.
Yeah,
it's just 49.
There's no precocious 49-year-olds, you know. There's just...
Well, if there are, they're losers.
For sure. Yeah.
They need to, get a grip.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For sure.
It becomes like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that. And then maybe if I can make it to, 65 or something, and I'm still not that I am
not that far,
but if you're precocious, then you're like, oh, that guy's got a sparkle.
What age do you get to just be old and no one? And
I have wanted to get to that age since I was, I think, in middle school. I've been saying for real, I want to be like that guy, because they would wear the craziest stuff. Like they would wear a lot of, at the time, crazy polyester, crisscrossed crazy patterns and stuff. And I would just say to my friends, that's what I want to be, just somebody who truly does not give a flying fuck.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
One step closer. Happy birthday.
One step closer. I hope I get there. I still care enough. I would wear that stuff now, but I care way too much.
Sure, you got to be on camera talking about.
I don't
Guinness.
have the guts.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, thank you.
Friend of the pod, Rob Brennan, recently flew to Los Angeles for 24 hours.
Heck yeah.
He's a bigger Oh Yeah Dude fan than you, is what he was telling me before he left.
Yeah, I wanted to make it out there, but just couldn't. A couple of years I went to the 1000th ep in New York.
And you guys were super
Rob
cool,
was invited
guys.
to that, and he didn't go. So I think we're even.
He didn't tell me that.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are tied now.
We're tied.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're both sickos. And for those who don't know, that's the intro and outro song come from
Jogger.
one of the members of that podcast. So
That's right.
yeah, I like them. Disturbing.
Chris, I know we usually save letters to the end of the show, but I got an email.
What made you bring that up about Rob Brennan?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh,
You guys just love it. Oh yeah, dude.
okay. Sure.
I know we save letters typically for the end of the show, but I got a letter that I think you would really enjoy. We've been invited to Beer Geek Madness, which is a beer festival in Poland, and someone emailed us.
You and I? We?
No, not you. You're welcome to come, but yeah.
The Royal We.
The Royal We. The brewery, the Is Was Brewing, Ari and I will be attending.
Okay.
And I got an email that said, "Hi, Mike. I'm super stoked that Is Was beers will be poured at Beer Geek Madness in the part of Poland that I can't pronounce yet in April. I'd like to ask if you are just sending over some kegs or if you will be there in person. Also, as a longtime listener of the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable podcast, I'm wondering if you'll bring/organize a slushy machine for your special brews. Looking forward to April and sending greetings from
Beautiful.
Germany. Cheers, Torben." So my guy Torben.
That's amazing.
Torben, I can't give away our secrets, so I can just say...
I'll answer for you. Yes.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. The blue slushy will be...
The blue-haired gal.
Will be poured there.
Yeah, exactly. Will be poured.
And if you don't see it, you just have to ask more.
And meaner.
Yeah, and be angry.
Yeah.
and then it'll eventually show up.
And then wander over to the Omnipollo booth, and maybe they'll have something for you.
Then they'll actually be able to do it. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun to get some recognition.
Yeah, right, for our slushy beer.
Yeah. Happens more than I would ever expect to get noticed in the wild, so to speak.
Yeah, Torben from Germany I didn't have on the bingo card of who listens to the podcast, but
yeah.
Thank you, Torben.
Yeah. So, very cool. What's new with you? We talked about what's new with me. I guess what's new with you is you're going to Poland.
We're going to Poland. We're going to Portland in May, too. We got invited to the DeGard anniversary party.
Oh, that's
which
cool.
will be pretty fun.
So you're one of the cool kids now.
I don't think so. I think one in Poland, it's a lot of, like, very cool, like, untapped, tuned breweries. They're making things that are cool on there. And so I was like, are you sure you want our beers? Other than the slushy beer, like, we really don't fit into this. But
yeah,
it's going to be fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fun. We got a stacked lineup.
Yeah, heavy hitters.
So we had to bring our A game. Which
too
late for that.
B plus, maybe.
We're hoping for B plus, and we'll hope to get a rounding error up to an A minus.
That's right. Don't ruin the curve, guys.
Yeah. So we'll introduce them in order of seniority, the way we always do, the only way that we really care. Man, I wish those people having a good time in the other room would shut up.
Yes. The last thing you want in your place of business is for people to have a good time.
Yeah, right. Well, anyway, our senior member goes by a lot of names, but we just know him simply as Doug. How are you, Doug? What's up, dude?
Doing good. Good to see you guys.
Hold on. Wait, hold on.
Serge.
You can tell Serge is not here today. Anyway, hey, Doug, what's up?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Speaking of looking forward to getting old, there's a social media account that I love to follow. What you just said reminded me of a post I just saw, and it's called Could Be the Move. And these guys do a voiceover and act out the scene of something that is not really done, but actually could be a good move. And they talk about, like, basically younger friends going to the diner, basically in the way you associate with old people going to a diner and what they do at said diner and sit there for hours continuing to drink coffee. And then they kind of act it out in, like, the course of a minute, voicing over it and say, it could be the move. And I watched that, and I was just like, that actually sounds perfect. Like,
just hanging out all day.
8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Just like wasting time away at a diner. I was like, that sounds wonderful.
That's where you're a regular now.
Yeah,
you're a regular, not at a bar, but at a diner. Yeah, exactly. Right. Striving to be like that, which is true. I mean, you see the old timers just hanging out there.
Yeah.
What's new with you?
I guess a lot. I came on for the year-end show as Nostra Douglas and didn't really get to mention.
You embodied
Nostra Douglas
embodied
you.
Exactly.
I think that's what you meant to say.
That's the lore, right?
Yeah, so since the last time I had come on before that, I was still at Revolution, so I left Revolution back in April of 2025 and joined a friend, a neighbor of mine, to start up a new venture called Bright Bev. And what we do is we work with really young founders of upstart beverage brands in spaces that we think are very interesting, exciting, and pairing up with founders who especially are looking for help with succeeding in the world of distribution. Both of us, my partner Jeff and I, have a background, me from working 8 years at Reyes Holdings. Jeff was at Molson Coors for a long time and led up their national distributor relations. And so we both kind of had this passion for what it takes to succeed in distribution, and that being a source of a lot of brands not being successful, not meeting their goals because of that, and not always going at it with enough expertise and experience on their side. So building a business around meeting that need for different companies at various stages, but generally they are all everybody we're working with is pretty much in their first year or two of business. So are we. So it's kind of fun to both be building a business, but be working with a number of new upstart companies that are kind of figuring it out themselves. And just with our different backgrounds, Jeff's an attorney, me being this kind of weird hybrid of finance and marketing, there's a lot of value we can add to these companies figuring it out for the first time. So really having a blast with it, and it's been a good way to keep my blog going, which has been going for over 10 years now, social media feeds. It's a way to tie that in, like, because I've put so much into that. I didn't want to just someday kill it. I always wanted it to be part of whatever I did next. So that's why I always put so much effort into keeping it going. And now it kind of dovetails perfectly into what we're doing, because it's a place to just talk shop, test out trends, like talk about a trend and get consumer feedback, get industry feedback. And by posting about it, you end up learning a lot about anything you want to hear what the public has to say, and it can really round out your own opinions, or you might look at something one way and realize there's a whole other way to look at it, make a little content on it, get it some virality to it, and you actually end up learning a lot. So it's helped a lot with what we're doing too. So been a busy 9 or so months figuring this all out.
It's been 9 months already?
Yeah.
Wow. Time flies.
Yep.
My goodness. Well, I've told you many times privately, maybe publicly as well, but congratulations, and very exciting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
For your venture with Bright Bev, and have you had any good beers lately?
I have. I have if I can double dip, I have a beer I'm looking forward to that I can make really quick because this is kind of newsy. Just found a TTB approval for what they call it, classic recipe fat tire. So it looks like New Belgium is
rumblings about that.
Classic,
bringing back fat tire. So I just thought that was funny, especially speaking of Rob Brennan and tasting like 2014 or 2006 or 1991, 1991, depending on what point you want to put on.
Are they bringing back the classic bottle?
They are.
Yes.
It's definitely a bottle. I don't know.
I
don't know about the mold of the bottle, but the label I saw was definitely a bottle, not a can, which is, I think, important. Mm-hmm. This might just be a limited release thing because it's some anniversary of theirs. I don't think it's a huge milestone, but it's like 35. And so it might just be a limited edition thing, but sometimes that could be a test to say, is this maybe more powerful bringing this back than what we're doing now with the Golden Ale? Who does? But anyway, thought that was interesting, as something I'm looking forward to trying, having not had it in quite a few years now. But the beer I've been enjoying the most, we're all Fatheads fans here. We're all big Headhunter fans, and it's funny. We might be I don't know about you, Pete, but 3 of the biggest out-of-distro fans of Fatheads in the country, and I don't think that's an exaggeration.
I don't think it is. No.
We all have
I've got one less left in my fridge.
And I think if you had Eric Capron, we might have the top 4.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking about, like, what is the closest thing to Headhunter? Because, man, I love it so much. From Pittsburgh, that's where Fatheads originated, even though they're now based out of Cleveland. So I have my own personal tie to it. You have your own story. And, like, the ones that I always come up with are Lunch and Blind Pig, but I don't like to count those being in a 500 milliliter bottle. It's just less of what I'm talking about as this thing you'd grab 4 or 8 of and drink it over the course of a week and have one every night for a span of time. So, like, okay, if I knock those 2 out, which are 2 of my favorites, the next one that I've found is less talked about, but I think, and I brought some, and maybe at a break we can come back and say if you agree. It's from Alvarado Street Brewing, pretty well-known brewery in California. I don't know who best to compare them to. Maybe in size, like a half acre of California, in terms of, like, they're a good size. Like, they reach out, but they're not massive either. But it's called Mai Tai IPA. Yeah. They've been making it since, I think, 2013. They're way ahead of the idea of, like, naming a beer after a cocktail, like maybe 10 years before that became super popular. But it's a little more modern in that it uses Mosaic, but it has everything you love about Headhunter in it. It's almost like a Mosaic Headhunter, and I just think it's perfect. I love that beer so much. So I'm excited to see if you think it's fair, maybe halfway through the show.
Not a comparison, but in the same league, right?
Yeah. It's not the same. It's got a different flavor, but like to say, like, okay, I see what you're saying. This is my speed, because we have a kind of a similar opinion of what a great IPA tastes like, and I think this belongs in that conversation, and it has been around a while. But.
That's great. Fonta Flora was in last week because they're doing an event at Goldfinger, and so they did an event here, or no, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I forget. And the founder Todd is from Cleveland, So I was talking to him about Fatheads and the branding of Northern Ohio in general with Hoppin' Frog and stuff like that. And, I don't want to... He's not here to defend himself, but he at first didn't think I was serious when I said it was the best IPA. And someone else, I think, who worked here had to, interject and be like, no, Chris isn't joking. Serious. Yeah. No, Chris is serious. He does think that's the best IPA in the world. He's like, what? So the next day when I saw him, because we were both going to that.
Wait, he didn't?
So I brought one. I brought one to Goldfinger at a beer event.
At a dark lager day event.
Yeah, and him and his brewer, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I made them drink it with me, and then demanded for them to all say that it was the greatest IPA of all time. Maybe not that last part, but yeah.
Well, what did they think?
There's nothing to think. It's an amazing beer, and you can't deny it. So
sure.
Yeah, so that's all.
Yeah.
We have one more guest. Good to see you, Doug.
Glad to be back.
I see you quite a bit.
That's true.
But I see our next guest quite a bit as well, but hasn't been on the show in a while.
Been a while.
Yeah. Mr. Pete Ternes from Middlebrow Brewing. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Good. I see you too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I really quick have a question. So I never thought about this, but is Omnipollo like everything chicken? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it is.
Is that really?
I asked them. Yeah. Is it Omnipollo or Omnipollo? And they said it's Omnipollo, like the all-encompassing chicken, like that concept.
Okay. I just kind of ignored the meaning maybe I thought
I don't know.
the
meaning I'm not sure, but I know the pronunciation is definitely that.
Omnipollo. There was a store called Omni in the suburbs of Chicago. Are any of you no? Are you from? No. It was like an everything store, right? It was like Costco before sense. Costco was. So when I saw Omnipollo, I lived near the McKellar Bar in the Tenderloin for a while in San Francisco, and it was just everywhere. And that was my first, maybe I saw it a handful of times here and there before that, but it was 2012, 2013. And I thought about everything chicken in that moment and just fucking forgot about it until you just said Omnipollo. And I was like, there's no way he's saying that right. That couldn't be.
Right, Omnipollo.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Little digression.
No, it's okay. Another one of my favorite.
All-seeing chicken.
Yeah. That is the brewery that maybe is the reason I always have to say, there's always exceptions, though. There's always exceptions because I'll be trashing a whole bunch of stuff. But then, but if they do it, it's cool.
The exception is being the first mover.
Right.
It seems more genuine when you're the first person to do something stupid and ridiculous.
Right. Like the milkshake IPA and stuff. Do you know that they invented that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Like German chocolate cake stouts and all sorts of.
They were a problem.
That was.
I think in your first year of having the bar open here, or it might have been my first visit. There was a chalkboard and it had what looked like McDonald's French fries written on the plaque. Right. And I was like, what is that? And whoever was working the bar kind of explained it to me. And I was like, oh God. All right, I got to try it. And then I was
That was the one. That was the proto milkshake.
You had that on for a little while.
I remember being like, why do I like this?
Yep.
I think it was because I was preparing for what it was supposed to taste like. And it did. And then I was like, I guess I kind of like this.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like fries, milkshake, hamburger. But it didn't have the burger. It had the bun. Yeah. It had kind of that they wanted to have kind of a buttered bun flavor to it, French fries, and a milkshake in an IPA and in a hazy IPA. I forget what it's called.
I mean,
you'd think it would have started with strawberry, not an extra value meal.
Right, exactly.
Well, I mean, there is a difference between concepting that and being let's make this
the thing
weird art project as a beer, and then other people being wait, people like lactose and just fruit in that? Okay, sure, yeah, we'll make one too. Those are fundamentally different in my head.
Sure.
I don't know if it makes a difference anywhere else, but
sure.
When you're there are exceptions. If you're the first one to be
also, still, I
check
think
this
the
out.
best label design.
Yeah.
The best package design overall.
Oh, I co-sign.
Yeah. Just
all their shit.
Yeah. Just the coolest stuff. So, well, thanks for coming on. Have you had any good beers or beers you're looking forward to having?
Yeah. Well, I guess both. I can quickly answer both, but there's a place called Fisher Beer in Salt Lake City. Have any of y'all ever heard of that?
No.
So it's this dude's great grandpa started this brewery in Salt Lake City a long time ago. I don't know, 80 years ago, and he resuscitated it. He's our age. I don't know how old you guys are. Well, I know you're 49. You must be
44.
At least 40.
44.
Okay, 44. Okay.
Throwing shade. You must be at least 40.
He's catching up on you.
Youngins.
But he's my wife's age. He's late 30s, early 40s. So he resuscitated it, and it's like a giant hit out there. And it's like it came around. I think they opened around the time when those legacy nostalgia brands were kind of hitting hard, and PBR was buying a bunch of them, and there was one in every city. And Rainier Beer is huge out there, and it's a fantastic beer if you've had it. Yeah. But so Fisher's brand just looks the old. They didn't really. I mean, they kind of copied, I suppose, in the sense that they came out with their old label, but it was kind of peaking, and it just fit. Didn't feel disingenuous. And anyway, they're big out there, and their house beer's just got that Helles. It's a Helles, and it's got that like German Bavarian strain that's just like, I don't know, Pez. I always get like a Pez dusty fruit to it. I love it. And so I go out there and just guzzle those. And I did that over the holiday, and then I took a month off, a little more than a month off. And
right.
I don't know.
You did it. You did the dry January.
Yeah. In fact, I guess this is probably my first beer. Apart from tasting shit in the brewery, but Hop Butcher's hop water's great, and I'm looking forward to Supermoon. I saw some friends in the street who are friends with Rob, and they're like, oh yeah, and I knew he was brewing it at but I just didn't put together that anyway.
He's not making that thing at our spot. That's a different project.
But I see. Yeah. But he's around.
Yeah. He's not making the non-alcoholic thing there at our spot.
Got it right. But I just mean I'm looking forward to his.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to Supermoon in Chicago. I didn't realize he was like kind of a little localer these days.
Yeah, I don't know how much he wants to, but
okay.
I've said it on the show before, but he brews out of our spot. But some stuff, I think he still brews some stuff up in Milwaukee.
Yeah, cool. Well, in any case, he was here, right? His stuff was here.
Yeah,
excited to try it.
Yeah,
it's been a while. I think I had beer number 4, and it's been that long. So
he makes great stuff.
He's making some new non-alcoholic, like sparkling botanical thing. Yeah.
Oh,
that looks very good.
Yeah,
but he's not making that with us.
Yeah, cool.
I thought that's what you were referring to.
No, I'm also looking forward to trying that because everything.
Yeah,
Omni,
chicken.
try it all. Okay, where do you want to start, Mike? Where should we start?
Brewdog. You want to start with Brewdog?
Kick it off.
Well, Brewdog, everyone's favorite punk ethos-driven multinational brewing conglomerate that tricks people into thinking they own part of the business.
Nothing's more punk than finding additional outside financiers.
Hiring a firm to find you more capital. That's the most punk thing you can do.
Yeah.
But if they can't find more capital, they might just be sold, is what the new news is. They have 60 bars throughout the UK. They have bars all over the world. They have hotels. They obviously have breweries. However, they need more money.
Yeah.
And they're not detailing like how much money they're looking for or what the terms would be, but it just like seems like a feeler put out in the world. They posted a $37 million loss. £37 million loss, sorry.
I'll call it 40 plus.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems to be even more than here. The UK is kind of turning away from this kind of branding or this type of thing, and it's hitting them. So,
yeah.
What did you think when you saw this? Because I don't think anyone of us thought like, oh, that's a rocket ship going to the moon, but
they were pretty big, and they had expanded pretty drastically for a while. They came to the U.S. That didn't seem to do much, and they've tried to go elsewhere, and I don't really know how that has gone. But when you go to the U.K., you know, the tied house system there, I mean, they definitely have, how many bars did you say they have?
60.
60, which I guess
in the U.K.
For out there, that's not a ton, actually, but it sounds like a lot, right?
It's just in the UK. I mean, they have
72 total, I just saw.
Yeah.
UK is the size of Oregon or something, right? Square mileage.
Right.
It's a lot of bars.
Denser, but
Right.
It's not a lot of bars compared to like
Fuller's,
yeah, but
well, it's like thousands.
Right, but for a brand that started 20 years ago, that's a lot of bars.
And it is how you get, you know, a lot of your distribution that way.
Right.
Is through your own outlets, and you would think that's stable.
How does real estate work there? Like, do they own the buildings?
I mean,
or they have
hopefully
agreements
they do.
with the landlord? Like,
could be either way,
Yeah.
I think. But often, I think they try to own the land.
Right.
Is preferable. So
always preferable. Just ask Pat Berger.
It's true. He's right. It is always
He's
preferable.
not wrong.
Yeah. What did I think? I wish I had stronger emotional feelings. I don't want them to go under. I don't want them to sell. Why? Just because...
Because you're punk.
Because I don't want them to. Like, even though they're not punk at all, I still don't want them to sell.
Right.
Can I say why? Maybe because I'm punk. I don't know.
What
What do you think?
You're punk.
What do you think, Doug? Do you have any thoughts about it, or Pete?
I don't have anything too deep. You know, this is one of the breweries that, for as much as I follow the industry and could talk for hours about like the Sierra Nevadas and New Belgiums and breweries like that, I did not follow BrewDog anywhere near to this level, but was just, you know, I was interested in the fact that I know how hard it is to get distribution in Europe, and how you basically have to kind of own your own bars and create them in the way they did. So I always found that fascinating that they were able to get as big as they did and kind of break through a system that felt like for a while you could never break through. So it takes getting to that kind of size and scale to ever have a chance of doing that. Like, it's just a mom and pop. You cannot do it without like serious infrastructure being built. It was just how disliked the founder became. That again, it was not someone I followed. He never rubbed me the wrong way because I just never saw anything he was saying. But I just always would see how angry he made people here, and a lot of people in the U.S. for some reason followed them, even though for the longest time that you couldn't even buy their beer here. But it was like a big storyline in probably the beer advocates and the rate beer worlds, and it's just not something I paid too close attention to. But I remember when it was a big deal in 2017 when they took private equity money, and it was a firm I could only have probably named 2 or 3 firms at the time, but it was one of those. I think it was TSG, and when they did that, I remember it was valued at $1.2 billion. So it was like, oh my gosh, this is serious. I mean, those were the peak Ballast Point Lagunitas numbers, but even higher. But understandably, with kind of all that infrastructure they had, it made sense, at least at the time. But in seeing these announcements of them looking for a buyer, also seeing that, like, I'm using round numbers, but something like 2 years ago they lost 60 million pounds.
Right.
Say dollars, close enough. And then last year they improved on that by losing $37 million or something in that range. And it was just like, oh my God. Like, and then when you think about like looking for a buyer, and the trend is improving a little bit, but like who's in the market to buy?
They cut that in half again. They only lose 16 million pounds next year.
Losing that kind of money. And so I'm sure they've even done things to just cut a lot of costs out that kind of have longer term implications from cutting them out. It makes you look good in the short term because your expenses get reduced in a hurry. Right. But when you do that, there's less investment going in, and all of a sudden the implications of that start to show themselves in the upcoming years. So I'm guessing somebody will pick them up for what their value is, which is I'm sure a quarter of that number, if any, anything close to it, of what I mentioned about 2017. But I don't think it's going to be like an interesting name we've heard of. I'm like, immediately I was like, is this like something that like at best Carlsberg is going to buy, or some kind of like hospitality company we've just never heard of because they operate in the UK and we're just not familiar with them here.
And just bring them in there and have them be. Yeah. Just kind of operate those 60.
One thing I did read that was interesting and is going to really set people off, if this indeed is true, it sounds true, but that when that private equity firm, I'll phrase this the right way to cover myself in case I'm wrong. When a private equity firm makes that kind of investment, they typically get preference to when there is a sale to they basically, it's almost like a creditor, they get paid first.
Yeah.
And therefore, if they put in and bought, let's say 20%, and it's now only worth 20% of what it was back then when they sell, they get all the money, and anyone else who was a shareholder is last in line. And in this case, if the value dropped that much, a lot of people, especially our punk investor, small beer enthusiasts from around the world, are almost certainly to get absolutely zero out of this because the private equity firm will get paid first and might not even get what they put in back. And so that's fascinating.
All the debt is in front of all the equity too. So any debt that they have, which if they own any property, they probably have debt, and there's all this equipment probably in each brew pub. Are they just bars, by the way?
Bars. I don't think there are a lot of brew pubs.
So not that much equipment, probably. But in any case, we're just speculating. I suppose there's some losses to buy if you're Carlsberg or something, right? And you can take the losses for a year or two and sell a bunch of stuff and keep the IP. And it's a smart buy, probably for a lot of people. But whoever held equity is behind not just the private equety, but any lender, any debtor.
Even if they bought it, they could probably just be like, we just want the branding and the recipes,
which I think
this is how much we'll pay you.
Which I think is actually not a bad idea, right? Like the branding, it's funny because you talk about the branding and the guy being kind of hated in a way, but hated in the brew community is meaningless in the broader market. And if they have 60 bars in the UK, I mean, all that hatred is kind of, no one's paying attention.
It's good to have a villain.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like it's a story for us to all kind of click around all week while we're bored at work. But like we're all beer people. Most people are not. They're clicking around like a wellness podcast or some shit, right. and ignoring this entirely. And so they walk by a BrewDog bar on the way home, and they still think about BrewDog when they go to the grocery store, and they still buy a ton of beer. So there's probably a lot of value in that still. But the punk thing kind of, when I think about like, am I surprised? It's like, am I surprised, or what am I feeling about it? On the one hand, is this like a flock of canaries? Is this part of the flock of canaries in the coal mine, or is it just another thing that got big and didn't work? Because that's a whole other phenomenon that's common in every industry and has been common in beer. Everyone grows and they just kind of sputter. A lot of companies sputter out. They can't handle the size. Punk doesn't kind of scale, and that's why very much punk doesn't scale is a great accidental phrase to say,
right?
That's a good
but I mean, to be punk driven at all, I think it was your term. It was your term at the beginning. It's just like it's just over, right? Like your punk driven brand, it just kind of doesn't work. And if they decided to if they pushed this punk thing for too long, too far, and didn't, democratize their aesthetic in a way, they were going to fail, and in this way, probably precisely. But if we think about all the cool craft beer brands in this country that have grown, they've all struggled, and some of them kind of find their way. Like New Belgium had a really rocky time, and Goose had a rocky time, and some of them are finding their way, some of them aren't, and I don't know. It feels like it probably fits that, but a slightly different version of it because of the weird the distinction in law. Yeah, like the laws there are different than here, and so they have a bunch of bars where like Goose didn't have 60 bars. They couldn't.
Sure,
they never would here.
Sure. Which is, assuming that those bars are still operationally sound, that, all right, they're moving a lot of beer. And you can also get their beer at a lot of other places, too, and definitely more craft-focused. But now I think they might be veering into, as you get these smaller breweries out there, this is just my limited times being over there, you start having these, like, truly small people, and they became not like the Kona or Goose Island of tap lists, but maybe like closer. They're closer to that than they were to being the true small little upstart cool story people who are working out of an old under a train trestle and stuff like that.
Bars don't seem to work for that. Blanding out your brand and pushing into stores seems to be the play if that's who you are. If you're Kona, you're not like gonna bring people to your 60 bars anymore.
Well, what you do if you're Kona is you're you're bought by Anheuser-Busch, who has the largest distribution network and the strongest relationships, and they just say, this is the blonde ale you're going to push, which helps a lot. And for Punk IPA, I think it's what it was called, and they have like hardcore IPA, Punk IPA. I mean, it is kind of hard to like lean out of that when those are the names of your beers. It's like, oh, we need to rebrand. It's like, well, Punk IPA is your flagship.
I think there's they seem like they were like trying to get big most of the time they were doing it, but I think that they're probably got bigger than they ever really intended. And I think that's like a story of a lot of breweries where you have this ethos and you're telling this story about like, we're here for the people that are into it right now. And then, oh shoot, everything's growing really fast and we can make $1 million or we can make $1 billion. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, we're punks. Yeah, sure, whatever. But you said $1 billion, right? And so like there's, it's hard to not want to grow and fill out all the space that seems to be in front of you and, make a successful business. But then the storytelling you've been doing just becomes disingenuous for how you've grown.
I suppose. I mean, when you go into their bars, they were definitely noticeably
punk bars,
different,
like Delilah's.
Yeah, they were definitely not punk bars, but they were definitely different, and they definitely skewed younger than the other. Like, I don't think you saw a lot of old men walk into those pubs. No. I think it was for younger people. Not that makes it punk at all, but they were different. I don't know if those younger people aren't as into that scene anymore and it's not being replenished as much. Who knows? It could be a whole bunch of stuff.
I think that's definitely part of it. Like I remember seeing a lot of stuff on my Explore page making fun of them from like people like our age, or my age, I guess. I'm a child. Yeah, but younger, like, millennial age people being like, Brewdog, essentially making fun of Brewdog and being like, well, that's supposed to be...
Like, how so?
Just that it's like not cool anymore, essentially, right? Like that, like something that's as old as like a Fuller's Pub or something is like, no one's arguing that that's like the hippest spot to go. But like Brewdog was cool, and that was like part of their personality, and they would go there and probably drink stronger beers than like a Fuller's Bitter.
More American style.
Yeah.
Like I had an IPA there after like a long trip of...
like American version of
an IPA. And it was like, oh, this tastes like an American IPA.
Yeah. But like I'd see, at least, I don't follow a lot of English, but I think when I was liking a lot of Prime Mutt and stuff, I was getting more English stuff served to me. And there were certainly like people making fun of Brewdog as a punchline of like, it's a place you go to get drunk and like on 8% juice things.
But at the same time, I see people making fun of IPA generally on social media.
All the time.
IPA is dead. Just trashing IPAs.
And IPA is dead, as we all know. No one wants to drink them anymore.
They all want to drink. What was it? Saison? Is that what it is now?
Saison.
Saison. That's what they all want to drink now. Saison.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
it's
good
singular. Yeah. Don't put an S on it.
Saison.
Saison.
Aison. It's
a lifestyle, not a style.
Got it.
Yeah.
And it's very punk. That's all I know.
I mean,
punk is shit.
Honestly, it might be the most punk beer style. There's no money. There's never going to be any money.
Are you reading a James Watt quote? Founder of Brewdog?
Yeah, then flash forward to 20 years when I'm like, I'm looking for another private equity firm to buy out the private equity firm that bought Is Was.
Right. Lighting your cigars with 100-euro notes.
I think what's a more punk beer style, to be perfectly honest?
It seems like the way
IPA?
The way they could have been successful, more so successful with fans, while still going on the path they went, was to really make these 3 big breweries or however many that dominate bars, dominate the shelves in Europe, the Heinekens, the Carlsbergs, like really make them the enemy, not make being small, if we're calling punk, you have to be small to be punk, but really talking like flavorful beer and how that's never going to happen if they're the only 3, I don't know, lieutenants at the table, and we're trying to become, we're going to fight to become one, and like get the people behind you by saying we're fighting for these kind of beers to be able to be that available and be a place you can go. I don't know.
Yeah, which is funny. Go on. What's up?
I was going to say, I mean, isn't it also, or wasn't it true back then? I think you probably know the best. Both of y'all would know. Mike doesn't know anything.
Too young.
Too young. No, but I mean, wasn't small the point? Like for so much of craft beer, it's like, whoa, what? Oh, you know about that now? Okay, give me 10 minutes. I got to go back to the internet and find the next brewery, and then I know what's up, right? And and you'll learn about it soon. Yeah, you'll probably hear about this pretty soon. It's going to be everywhere. Right. But small was kind of the point, and I don't mean that's like, it's like, I think I agree with you. That would have been a good way for them to approach it, but there is some limit at some point when, if people were looking for small, I guess maybe what I'm getting at is their fans. Were their fans the same kind of fans? I don't know anything about England, really.
Right. Or Scotland.
Or the UK is England and the UK. Anyway, the
used to be, at least.
Kidding. But the fan, like, were the fans like they are here, where they were kind of like looking for local, or was it more like their fans were like, cool, these guys are making these crazy American beers, and they were everyman. They weren't like craft beer.
But they had gateway.
I think they were the first ones to do it, and therefore they got everyone's attention fastest, and their message resonated until all of a sudden it didn't. It grew past them, and then that they inspired the next wave, and then so everybody moved their attention to them while they're up here, and then they're feasting on the people that don't care enough to know the difference.
Yeah, which is like kind of the story of most craft beer growth in this country, I think.
Yeah. But what you said, Doug, earlier about like kind of like a messaging strategy for BrewDog. When you were talking about it, is like, we want to be kind of at the table because it's never going to get there. If they have their say, and who that sounded so much like.
Lagunitas.
Exactly. Tony McGee. That's exactly what he was saying.
What I was thinking is, like, if you're a brand that's trying to grow that aggressively, or has found themselves in a position to grow that aggressively, like the big breweries, positioning yourself against them, it's like, well, all roads lead to Damascus, right? And they're Damascus. So, like, at some point, if you're successful enough, and it's probably not going to be your choice at this point, but you're going to get sold to them. Like, if you survive long enough, it's going to happen. So, like, if your whole marketing thing is like, they're bad. Well, I mean, Sierra Nevada, sure.
I mean, it can be done. You have to want it. You have to want that.
Yeah.
You got to hit do you think they have private equity investment?
No.
So, but BrewDog does. So, like, if they couldn't really position themselves as like, we're against that stuff. So,
I mean, they probably wanted to grow very fast. It felt like they needed to grow very fast, so they took private equity, as Lagunitas probably did. Probably. Right?
I mean,
we don't know that.
We don't know it, but when you come on a podcast and you talk about all these zombie breweries that are going to exist because of what private equity wants them to do so intimately as he did,
right?
It's I don't know. Like, you can only speak to that from
experience. But Dogfish Head did as well.
Yeah.
A lot of tons did. Tons.
Probably one of the ones he was talking about.
Right. And, I think that a lot have kind of gone that route. I don't know that much about the two guys. I know that they were always very controversial and very kind of like shock marketing kind of style.
Could have been purposeful too in some ways.
Yeah, and I always thought they were kind of like came off as jerks, and it was like just like lame marketing for lame marketing's sake and stuff like that. Punks.
Yeah, they're being punks.
But I don't know. I think I'd still rather them not be bought by Carlsberg and kind of be their own independent voice, even if it's struggling or not as authentic as it used to be.
Yeah, I think
ultimately just because there's a better likelihood that it'll be a distinct voice. It still could just be a smaller, shittier version of Carlsberg's voice because they can't, implement it as effectively as a big brewery would. But there's also a chance that it will be, something of an alternative. And what we're seeing now is, a hard push for the illusion of choice, which if they sell to another brewery, it's just what it's going to be. It's just going to be the illusion of choice. So that's not having that much, recent research into that. That's kind of where I come down with this thing. So I hope it works out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But
also, I don't think it affects us in America all that much, to be perfectly honest.
No, I don't.
That
think
hotel
so.
already closed, so.
Yeah, and are they in Columbus anymore? Or did that also?
That's where the hotel was, but they are in Columbus, and they
Still.
closed. They closed. They had
That closed
many,
a while
They
ago,
had
right?
many like satellite tap rooms, and a few of them.
Yeah.
Have
Well, they had a
closed.
brewery in Columbus.
They still do.
Oh, they still
Yeah.
do. Okay.
They quickly became a 50 to 100,000 barrel brewery here. Like what they were doing worked, but not so much anymore.
Yeah.
So they got to a certain size in a big hurry.
Sounds like a lot of pipe fill, a lot of signing on with a lot of distributors.
I'm sure. Yeah.
That then just didn't.
Spread across a wide footprint,
Yeah.
inch deep, mile wide. I
Yeah.
think is the phrase. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Big country. You need to have a
But
lot
they
of
are a
reps
decent
here.
size here, and it's like a completely separate run operation.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about it. But.
Well, we'll report back to you with timely information.
We'll see what happens.
Within a month or two of when it happens.
We'll shoot
One of
an
those
email.
guys is going to start a saison brewery when they get bought.
Of course.
And then we'll have more.
They always do.
Then we'll have more choices. Or
They
they'll have
always
more
do.
choices. Hey.
They'll have moved on to the next cool, rebellious genre of music.
New wave.
New wave, yeah. Saison for new wave weirdos.
Post-hardcore IPA. Post-hardcore table beer.
That's it. I think you're coming up with some of your new names.
Yeah. Inspired by music.
Right, inspired by music.
Moving on.
That's cool. Let's talk about this, and we'll. Well, actually, can we take a quick break? All right, we'll
Yeah,
take
it's your birthday.
short
You can do
break.
whatever you want.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
We're taking a quick break, and
There
then we're
we
going to
go.
come back and talk about the value menuification of craft beer, if someone has their say. When we're back in just a moment.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Beer Temple Podcast. I'm Mike Shalau. We're here with Chris Quinn, Doug Veliky, and Pete Ternes. Is that right?
You did it, yeah.
I didn't know that. All right.
We're here sipping on
Sipping on
some Mai Tais.
Mai Tais.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm not sipping on mine yet, but it smells very good.
Yeah, it smells delicious. It's got that bitterness.
Very good. Yeah, reminds me. That reminds me of lunch is what I would probably put it closest to.
It drinks a touch lighter than
You think?
Headhunter, I think.
Oh, the Headhunter. Yes, it does. It doesn't have as much.
It's
bite.
It's like if Headhunter was
does
like
have
actually
good bite.
a neo West Coast beer instead of like being a earlier
American.
West Coast beer.
Okay. Got
American IPA, yeah, an American IPA. The
it's
rebrand
very
really
good.
really hit. Matt, if you're listening, we're sorry. The rebrand is great.
Oh, he's listening.
He's definitely listening. He's got to be.
So, can we talk about value menus?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So, the beer aficionado, a.k.a. Nostra Douglas,
For better or worse.
a.k.a. Doug Veliky, had a post where I think you were just kind of coming up with strategies for tap rooms, right? To kind of get people engaged and interested in getting regulars and stuff like that. And it came to this value menu we can get to in a moment, but you want to take us from like the inception of what you were talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, so for probably about, 6 years now, I've been posting about the beer industry on TikTok. Big platform, yet for some reason, literally, I wish there were more because I'd love to follow them. There's nobody talking about the beer or the beer industry on TikTok. There's a few people trying to do reviews, great, but in terms of like more broader conversations, like what's going on, how it works, nobody else. So therefore, by being literally, unfortunately, the only person doing it, when a topic hits, it goes. And therefore, I get the wrath and the feedback from sometimes like a lot of people. And it is very eye-opening because I do the exact same thing on Instagram, which is a much longer standing feed that is a lot of people closer to the industry, I believe, than who follows and gets my posts on TikTok, even though they're the exact same posts. And everything just goes down differently there. And it has just like how you were saying earlier that like, a lot of people don't like IPAs and are very vocal about that. Even more so, it's that craft beer is too expensive. And that I get told that 100 times a day on posts that have nothing to do with price. And are just people saw a post that had anything to do with craft beer and are like, it's too expensive, $9 pours are a joke. I wish I could go to my local brewery, but it's too expensive. It's not worth it. And that's just like all I see. So it just like eats at me, just like the thing about like craft beer is all IPAs, just like that eats at me too, because we know it's not. The pricing thing is just like, I see what they're saying. And I also see, like during COVID, there was a need to increase prices and for a while, an ability to get away with it because there was, you know, the economy was good. There was, people were a little more flush with cash. There was a period where you could do that and not really feel the effects. And I feel like those prices kept climbing and the effects of them eventually caught up because eventually just economic theory comes into play and you cannot continue to increase prices and expect to not eventually feel it somewhere else in typically volume. So it actually started, this is something I've been posting about off and on for a little while now, but I made this post just for fun. I was like, here's 3 ideas that you can steal from McDonald's. And one of them was like the equivalent of supersizing it, but basically having a very cheap way to go from a 16-ounce pint to a 20-ounce pint. And it's not that you should actually call it that, but like have your own fun term. And that was one. But the other one was the value menu. And I was just like, what if, a brewery took that has, let's say, 16 to 20 beers on tap. I'm thinking about where I worked, Revolution or Half Acre or Maplewood. What if you took 4 beers that are, beers you have the ability to make, but are not necessarily your big, focuses in distribution, but are like, the most affordable recipes to make. These ones that are a fraction of the cost of a, double dry hopped IPA that is a golden ale, a mild, a Kolsch. Kolsch's are a very affordable recipe. What if you took a few of those styles, especially ones that you're not commercializing, and what if you had a section on your menu that was kind of like everyday hits, or not actually calling it a value menu, but it's kind of like leaning into that idea of something that could get new people into the door, people that are on a budget, people that might not be able to afford to come to the brewery otherwise, give them an affordable entry point, knowing that there's a lot of ways that can work out well for you, not just in how fast they're going to come back. If they just order all those beers, they might be someone who becomes a regular, but also if they just feel like they're treated, fairly there on the menu, they could easily talk themselves into, well, I got such a good deal on that Kolsch. I really do want to try that $9 double IPA. That really sounded good and interesting. Yeah, I'll do that. And they just are going to explore the menu. And I just view this as a way to potentially, get people in, but then expand their horizons to the rest of your menu. And I view that broadly as a good thing overall. And then another topic I like to talk about is, people are also very mad that beer costs the same at breweries as it does at the stores and at bars. They're like, it's being made there. Why would it cost less?
Right.
And I would say, well, first of all, you don't want to undercut your retailers. So and people do not like that answer, especially what I found younger, kind of naive consumers just immediately don't appreciate the reasoning behind it. But that, well, if I'm selling to all the bars, if I'm in Chicago and there's, count 100 bars within a few miles of me, and I am pricing the kegs I'm selling to them at $2 less a pint than them. Why would they want to support me? So I always like to also bring that to their attention. So that's the kind of line you're trying to thread here, is how do you not do that, but also have this way to say, hey, look, we're kind of, if everything we sell is, I'm sorry to use this number, I know not all beer is $9. You can go to a lot of breweries and get a pour much cheaper than $9. But if every pour is $9, you're kind of like limiting yourself to the people that already care about craft beer, and you're not creating this like entry point in, like all the people that come for a birthday party who wouldn't have come otherwise but are there for this other reason and look at the board and see that that's what everything costs. Are they going to come back? They're there that night, but are they going to come back? They probably won't. But if they see this other way to, have the most approachable styles that are also some of the most broadest to enjoy, that someone who doesn't think they like craft beer, but probably try one of these. These are all pretty likable styles. You could turn them on to wanting to come back because there's a deal. And it does not need to be like 4 beers and a true like value menu. It could be one. It could be a rotating one. I've seen a lot of breweries just have one beer of the month in their own way. But I expected to get more blowback on this from breweries, and then when I kind of posted about it again this week from a little different angle, I expected to get more blowback from retailers, and it wasn't really the case. Generally was like, yeah, interesting. But I know you have opinions, and I would love to hear them.
Well, you kind of undercut a lot of the opinions with a lot of qualifications, but it's okay. I think it's difficult, and I do think beer pricing is going up. In the past couple of years, it's gone up a lot, and it's getting to that $10 price point, which is something that we have tried for a long time to stay under, and now sometimes just can't, and it sucks.
No matter the size of the pour or the beer or the ABV, like $10 is something that people see and they're like, whoa.
Right. And you can do it with some specialty stuff, right? Like if you have something very special on tap. Like Fatheads. Then, yeah, you can do $10 an ounce.
You have range.
$10 an ounce?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You have range, too.
Yeah. And you have range. And that's the original reason that we had $4 pints of Sierra Nevada. Those are now $5 pints of Sierra Nevada. Still a good price.
Still a good price.
I mean, I was looking up Buffalo Wild Wings menu. This is one in just Connecticut.
For your birthday?
So I don't know why. Yeah. I mean, at least in Connecticut, I don't. But I wish it was a little bit closer.
I know about Connecticut.
They're cheap, man. At least in Paquanac, Windsor, Connecticut. It's.
I know Windsor.
Yeah, but they're cheap, man. I mean, the $3.99 for a Coors Light, 16-ounce pour. But Dogfish Head Slightly Mighty. It's twice as much, but it's still only $5.99. And Elysian Space Dust for 12 ounces, $6.99, so $7. So they're cheaper there. You're not going to get a ton of crazy stuff there. There is a $9 12-ounce pour of Lunch, which is their kind of stretch.
They have Lunch at P-Dubs in Connecticut?
Yeah, they do. You going?
Wow.
But even in that
when I go home, yeah, maybe.
Even that Space Dust, if you, scale that up to a 16-ounce pint, that is $9, right?
Yeah.
That's $7.
Is that a
for
pint
12
or no?
Ounce.
The Elysian Space Dust was 12 ounces for $6.99.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have others. Like the Dogfish Head one was 16 ounces for $5.99.
Sure.
I mean, isn't this good? Think about. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I went to the some people complain about our prices all the time. And funny, for the first 3 years, we had a $4 beer on every day. We took basically the approach that you're talking about. It's not 5, or it even went to 6 maybe last year, and didn't go to 6 because the inputs got more expensive. They did. It went to 6 because the labor is just shit costs more, and it does across the economy. And so you go to a Sox game, and it's $18 for. I went to a Cubs game, and I got 4 beers, and I walked away with $80 pour. That's nuts.
Messed up.
Nothing, and it was like a 18 ounce or something. It was big.
Sure, they get you to make it harder for you.
You got the bat,
but I wasn't like right. Well, I didn't get the bat. I should have got the bat. I don't know how to turn it the right way when I'm finishing it. Yeah, right. But it was a big-ish beer. But the point is still kind of the same. It was like the only option. There was one size I could get there, and it was $80 for 4 beers. After some tax and then probably a little more for some tip. No, it was like electronics, so I didn't tip the robot, or I don't know what I did.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
the tipping robots.
I don't know, man. I got to tip everyone.
Tipping
right?
AI.
But I guess the maybe the point here is if labor costs more, like if people are complaining about prices for beer, it's just like, and they are, no doubt. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I agree. There's an approach. You can blend your margin and still get what you need, and we've done that. We've been doing it for years, and it does work. It's fine. It brings people in, and some people are happy that they can get something cheap, and we sell way more of the $4 beer or the $5 or $6 beer than everything else. But in the end, people are making more money. In their wages outpace inflation still. They're still spending a crazy amount of money on beer and pizza and leisure. Is it just that the internet allows us to complain a lot more about, like, because I see the same thing. People complain about prices constantly. And should it really be $4 or $6, or is it just like it's normal for Elysian to be effectively $9 at Buffalo Wild Wings, because at Comiskey it's 16. Well, there's some deals at Comiskey, but at Wrigley it's $18 for a beer, and at Middlebrow it's got to be 8 or 9, and it's just like that's where the market is, and it's because not the inputs are more expensive, but the people are more expensive now, and it was an abrupt change. People are complaining because they need something to complain about, but it will settle out over the course of a couple of years, and people will be kind of accustomed to it.
I'm challenging that's where the market is, though, because I think that they've got there, and I'm seeing the market falling, and so I'm saying I actually don't think the market is there. I think the market is saying it needs to be a little bit lower.
Well, like what's the who is the market?
Well, right now I think the market is shrinking, and I think the $9 price point, let's say, just using that example, is what's causing. Is a cause of the market shrinking, and therefore by having these lower cost options, you open yourself up to a bigger market. You have more people that, if you figure out a way for people to find out about it, that you're going to welcome in new faces long term.
So the market seems to be shrinking for everything artisanal, and it could be priced for, like we see it because we do a lot of artisanal things. We make wine, we make pizza, we make bread. And all the people are just completely unimpressed by cuteness anymore, and geography. How local is this? And what's your precious production story? They couldn't care less about a narrative anymore. We try to de-emphasize a lot of that for the bulk of people, whilst also arming our staff to understand the story, so the people who still care about the story can understand, can get excited about it. But I guess I wonder how that plays in. If artisanal production is not attractive to the new people in the market, the Zoomers, for lack of a better term, or Boomers who are kind of entering the market from the other direction. If they're if they're not going to pay the premium that you need to inject into your price because the people making your products are expensive, if they're not going to pay it, is it because they're not interested in paying? Is it really just an economic thing? Across the economy, do we see a bunch of people running from high prices, or are they just paying? Are they paying crazy amounts of money for everything all the time, and complaining about it, but paying it still? Or is it like a lack of interest in this artisanal production? Is there something into that?
I have an opinion on that. Surprise, surprise. I think that people are complaining about everything, pricing, and stuff
everything,
like that.
Shit's expensive.
Yeah,
you can't
and
buy
there's
a
also
yogurt without losing $30.
When you go to I went to a bakery, and it was small and local, and I'll be one of those guys. This was just, I think, maybe yesterday morning, maybe 2 days ago, and I got my thing, and I was, I felt pressured into tipping 15 to 25% on top of it, and I realized whoa, okay, that was like another $8 just that I just threw on top of it, and I didn't equate that into the cost, but now I'm like, oh wow, so okay, now just getting some stuff for just getting some pastries for the family was $50. And it's wow, that's a lot. So people are complaining, and where I'm getting at is that bakery, like a bar, you don't really want those to be occasions. I think you can pay higher prices, but those places become occasions, and people will pay that on occasion. But it can't be it can't be my place that I go to. That's my bakery. I cannot afford it. Some people can to spend $50, 3 or 4 times a week, because that's where I like to go and get a pastry and something like that. And it's I like to support them. And that's kind of where I'm at. I still go to them.
You're getting at a critical point, I think, which is maybe where I was going, which is that these are two different markets. The artisanal production market there's a lot of expensive inputs, and those places need to create the occasion to max out the number of people who have an occasion who come through, and then maybe what you're getting at, it seems, is the non-occasion. Pardon?
What Doug's getting at.
Yeah, what Doug's getting at is a non-occasion.
In the entry point.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You need that is a different...
The bridge to the $9 is the $5, is the better tasting $5.
Right, but there's a whole different market there, right? All those people are not interested in the occasion. They're not going there for the occasion. They're going there because they're dragged there. They're going there for some other reason. But then there's the craft beer market specifically is not really an occasion anymore, because it's ubiquitous, and everyone's had this experience several times, many times now, dozens of times, hundreds of times in their lives. So they have to be more like the non-occasion, the bakery on the corner, and not the bakery on TikTok. Yep. But I don't know, for us, we fall, sadly, I hate that this is true, but Middlebrow falls into the occasion joint. It's crazy expensive. I couldn't afford it more than a couple times a year, probably, personally. And so we try to make it an occasion, balance a lot of things.
It's well worth it.
Well, thanks. but you got to balance a lot of things to try to nail the occasion. But can you offer maybe to get back to the point? Can you offer a value menu if you're an occasion joint, or can you offer a value product if you're an occasion? I think you can. We do it with some success, but I also, just to balance that comment, we still get the shitty reviews. We're a 4.4 on Google, and almost half of the bad reviews are prices. It's about prices or service fees. Our service fee, which is it's a 20% fee, we discourage tipping, almost make it very hard to tip. On top of it, it's what you pay anyway. You pay taxes, you pay the menu price, you pay service, and it's expensive, and it's pizza and beer and wine, and so all this is to say we can do, you can slide that menu, that value menu, or at least a value, 1 or 2 value items into an occasion place, and maybe get that entrant. Yep. But what do you do at Mike, because you're beer forward, you have no food, and how do you do? Can you sell a beer for 12 ounces for $4 or $6 or $5 or?
No, I don't think so.
Is it the people?
We're very small too. We're somewhere in between, an occasion place for some people who are coming to have a specific type of beer, and a neighborhood bar. Where our model is that every beer is $8, and then we change the size of the pour. So we have 16-ounce pours, 12-ounce pours, and 8-ounce pours, depending on ABV and how more often though how expensive it is for us to make it, and if there's specific adjuncts or whatnot. I don't think we couldn't. The way our business operates right now, we couldn't have a $4 beer. It's just not possible. I think also when other breweries start thinking about doing this in their tap room, make sure you know the economics of the individual beers you're going to put on there. Don't just take the beer you think should be on there and say it's going to be $4 or $5 or whatever. Make sure you know you're still going to make money, because what could end up happening is that that's the only thing people come and buy. And then if you're barely making money or losing money on a beer because you want to get people to move upwards towards your more expensive beers, they might not.
You got to weigh, like, you can't just do 2 $4 beers, 2 $8 beers. If everyone buys the $4 beers and 4 people buy the $8 beers,
right? So you got to
weigh the average.
Right, you can't. It is very possible people will move up to the thing that makes you more money, but it's also more likely that most of those people won't. And so they'll come to your tap room one time. They'll still only come one time because they really don't want to go to a brewery, and they'll buy your cheapest thing because they don't want to be there in the first place.
Those people. Yeah, those people will.
Yeah,
but they're a huge part of the market, though.
Right. I think this is a good idea, and I think more people should do it. We can't pull it off, I don't think, because we're too young and having a tap room and paying off our loan. And we actually raised prices. We were $7 for everything, and everything had to go up to $8. But we've had a couple complaints about pricing, but for the most part, it's people have find what they get to choose what they value, I guess. Or do you value ABV? Do you value like uniqueness, or do you want the value of volume?
It's an experience there too. They're paying for it.
And this might sound so obvious, I know it is, but like when people leave having signed that check and feel like they got a value,
totally.
not a steal,
totally,
but like, oh, that was reasonable. It's all about how quickly they're going to come back, and that's what's so huge. And that doesn't mean you can take a loss like you're talking about, Mike.
No,
but like that's what I think about. And there's other ways to do that too. There's like, I always talk about like one of my favorite strategies is when someone's looking at a menu, especially if you're a brewery. This is a little harder for Chris to do as a beer bar, but still could be done. But for a brewery, when someone's looking at a menu, especially if it's someone they've seen come by many times before, whatever your newest thing is, whatever your like sampler size is, whether that's an ounce or 2 ounces, say, hey, while you're looking at the menu, this is our newest beer. We're really excited about it. It's this, and this. Give this a try, but let me know when you're ready. That just like feeling of getting something for free that they didn't even ask for. Forget any deals, forget any value pricing, just that like, oh, well, that was nice. I tried this, and whether they're like, I love it, I'll have that, or, ooh, glad I didn't order that, but thanks for that, so I didn't accidentally order something I wouldn't have been. Either way, just that gesture that doesn't cost you that much, it costs you something. No,
totally.
But like that can be just that little thing that's like, they felt like they got to try something that they didn't have to order, or take the risk of ordering. They just got this extra little thing.
I think we're also like a kind of strange case because most people that are coming to our place don't have any idea what the style of beer we make is. Like some people are coming because of it, but like yeah, right.
No, you're the cool kid now.
Sure, but people that are coming because their friend is having their birthday party there are just look up and there's like don't have any idea. So like it's. We try to downplay, try to overly educate people, and it's more just like, hey, we're just trying to make good tasting beers. Saisons aren't like, they're not crazy. Here, try this, try that when we have time. And so that experience is being like, hey, we'll fit you. Like it's like trying to get a bespoke suit on someone or something, where it's like when we have the time and it's not too crazy, like we want to find a beer that you're actually going to like. Yep. Like all our beers are probably more expensive than an average beer. But we're going to find something that you think you like. And if you don't like that, we'll find a bottle. We have 70 bottles of things that we can get for you, which are actually probably more expensive to buy at our place than anywhere else. But now hiring people who are like really genuinely interested in helping people find that and having them all taste your beer and know the beer. Like we can't get, one of the things I think about a lot with ISWAs, and even when ISWAs is at it, like, we're still growing and we're still small, but when we're at our full scale and we're like where I think we're supposed to be, we're never going to compete on price. Like it's just not something that like I understand how to do as a human, as a person. Like I just, and I don't think it's what we're ever going to be able to do. So if we can be competitive on price and then compete on beer quality, beer, the uniqueness of our beer, and then the hospitality aspect of it in the tap room, that's our competitive advantage. if we get to that point, then maybe we can have like we think Bourgeois Daydreams and Will be our $5 beers that we can make money on because those beers we make over and over again.
Would you do that?
If it would depend on the numbers. Like honestly, if we could make money doing it, yeah, including overhead and labor, yeah. I mean, I want to price beer as cheaply as I possibly can and still survive as an individual.
I don't expect it to be flagship like will be.
Yeah.
I would be thinking like Bourgeois.
Yeah,
Daydream.
And it's very possible that we're going to make a lot more of that coming up, and that might be the one exception on our list that's not $8.
Well, here's what I had then posited to Doug, which is something that used to come up more, I think, in the past than it does now, because it looked like this advice or strategy was for, small, very small to very small breweries, right? Ones who are really trying to drive meaningful revenue from their tap room rather than it be kind of a flagship experiential place, so then people will go back to their homes and buy that beer elsewhere.
I would say I was not thinking of like Was, who specializes in saisons, and I was not thinking about Middlebrow, who's also an artisanal restaurant with some of the best pizza around. But
in the country.
Thanks for the plug.
I was thinking
around the world.
I was thinking about the more
world.
generalist breweries, which can be bigger ones. I was thinking about Rev, Half Acre, Maplewood, and if Pipeworks had a tap room like that kind of size, like so any Chicago brewery, I was definitely thinking about. But I was thinking more of the generalist brewery, the Old Irvings and the Penroses and all that, who are all feeling like a decline in traffic.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe it's that people are coming and they're having beers, they're enjoying the beers, but they're looking at that receipt at the end and they're saying, ugh.
Right.
Maybe not going to come back as fast as I would have had I been like, oh.
That's true. Now, I get that there's very little to argue there. Like, people are like, oh, that's good. I like that it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. I like that I can go here, have a good experience, and it does cost me a little bit less than going to a different place to kind of have a similar experience, right? And that's where I was commenting on your post about, if those beers are being distributed, our breweries, our bars that you distribute to, going to be upset about it. And that's why I asked you, Mike, like, so you would do that for Bourgeois Daydream? Because I was thinking, like, if there were places that were close to me who I felt were undercutting my prices for the same beer.
We would only do it if we could, like, actually put the keg out in the world and have it be close to that.
Got it.
Right? Like Bourgeois Daydreams we're hoping to be a very, very affordable beer when we put it out in draft soon. So
which would be great if there were like value priced local craft beers, and there are some craft beers that are value priced. I don't know how many local ones there are.
I could give
but there's a few.
An interesting,
but it's dangerous to get to it because you could piss off bar owners and restaurant owners who have your beer on draft, and if they get word of it and being like, well, because the last thing they want is for a customer to think that they're gouging them.
You could, but just to really quickly jump in on this point, because it's a thing that this is like me and Michael Roper and I don't know, a couple other people, Good Beer Hunting. It was like a thing 7 years ago at Hop Leaf. And I was arguing,
like, they've chilled on this a little bit.
Yeah. But he and I talked a little bit recently, finally, and it was great. He was great. We had a great hang, and we didn't even bring this up, but I like stand by this, which is that you are different than he is. You, Chris, are different than Mike. You're just so different. Your places are so different. Why would I, if I was thinking about where to go on a Friday night, I would not be like, oh, fuck, I could get this beer for $1 or $2 cheaper at Was. Let's just go there.
I think you're thinking of it a little bit differently, maybe. I think that what you don't want is the customer You don't have to explain that to the customer. Hold on, hold on. I understand that you're angry that this is $3 more or $4 more here than when you just had it last week, and you're saying that. And even if you say it out loud, hopefully you do, because I know it then. Let me go get the manager and explain to you how this value menu is working.
Just send them Doug's.
Right.
Wait.
That'll never happen.
You're talking about you having a higher price than Mike and your your staff getting that question from 1 or 2 out of 35 people in a night, and it'll happen. It will happen. I mean, it happens. I very much understand this. It happens in Middleborough constantly, where we get. But I think this gets back to a bigger point, which I was thinking while you were talking, which is like it's small. I feel like this is a small thing, by which I mean it's great to hear so many people complaining on TikTok about beer prices because they actually wish they could drink craft beer. That's fucking great news.
If that is, or they may just want to reinforce why they don't drink.
But my point is, like, it's the people complaining on TikTok. There's also people complaining on my Instagram feed about how horrible our pizza is. But there's a lot of people who are, and it's only a couple of people, or it's like a couple of Google.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was just me trying to get more business to my tap room.
I saw like user error dot .ms.
Yeah, definitely not Mike.
Wasn't. Yeah. But like, there's Google reviews about how our pizza is terrible.
Darren.
But if we, I think it's like, are we overemphasizing or are we favoring the negative feedback about prices? Is the one guy who walks up to Fresh and says, "Fuck this place! It's $2 more than it was 3 weeks ago." And like, does it really matter to the giant bulk of people? And this is the giant bulk of people makes up a tiny market, which is the craft beer aficionados. Which are they really? Do they really care? But in that night, I would happily pay $2 more for. I wouldn't even look at the prices when I was here, and I got an Is beer, and that's probably what I would order. And when I went there, I would order and I'm not a very well-to-do dude, right? I don't have much money to spend, but like, I guess the premise is like, what do we? Is it? I think it's fine if you charge $4 for, Bourgeois Daydreams, and you charge $7, and I think the giant chunk of people won't care. Am I wrong about that?
I think probably most people won't realize that. At the same time,
so should you change your behavior?
There's also something where like we make so little. Like we're a bad example because we make so little beer that anywhere it is, whoever's ordering it is going to get it because they want it.
I'm thinking about honestly. Yeah. You know what I'm thinking about? Church Street, where we brewed for a long time, and they made great beer for us, and they had a tiny bar that like they had a fake, like a false wall between their bar and the brewery. If you ever been there, you guys, and like. It was just a brewery. It was the tap room wasn't even an extra room. It was just a space to sit and have their beer. And all the people in the neighborhood went and loved it. And like, if their beer was if the beer was a little cheaper there, and they took Doug's advice and they had this crazy value menu on, and a bar, 2 miles away that had Church Street stuff on was mad about it. It'd be like, man, are you crazy? People are coming to this bar for the 12 other beers that you have on tap and the food, and they're going to Church Street to get. Not even a cheap beer. They're going to Church Street to be in a brewery. There's two totally different decisions you're making. It's not about, and it doesn't mean no one is ever thinking about value or money. Surely they are. There will be people who do that for that reason. But I think the bulk of the people who show up at Church Street show up there. They have a different impetus than the people who go to a bar a mile away, 2 miles away, and it's not money. It's an experience they're looking for.
I think there's a chance to change that. Is kind of what I'm getting at, and I don't know. Like the value menu is very specifically meant to be some of the least interesting styles in terms of just like complexity of the beer, the most approachable beers, in an effort to change some of that, to encourage a regular fan base and not just the kind of people seeking out the most adventurous kind of styles as well. So, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Because these days, you do actually need... we're all pinched,
right?
And something cheap does. I would actually. Also separate. I have a family a new family that costs F loads of money.
Right.
So like on a Friday night, a place that's like I'll go to Solomon on the corner. I won't go to Middleborough. I'll go to Solomon and get a couple of cheap beers and go home, and that's a way better value than going to Middlebrow,
right?
Or Parsons that night.
They were early to the $4 Lou. I think it's now $5, but they were that's probably about a 5-year-old deal that they've been doing.
I think it's been the entire time they've had that.
Yeah.
The one in the city, at least, the tap room in the city.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know I make a weird little style of beer, but I always want people to think it's of value, right? Like, and that they're getting, that they leave feeling like they got something of value. And so like that's kind of that, like, it's one price for everything. Sizes vary, so like you get to choose what do you value in that, right?
Right. And that's an interesting way to do it.
And it's easier for us to, like, because we can blend things probably a little bit easier than when you guys buy a keg for $250 versus $350 or $149. Like,
sure. And you don't want to screw over the guy who's pricing their stuff lower by jacking up their prices to account for somebody who's charging more, and you want to bring down the prices. I always feel weird about doing that too.
Right. Like it's all our
which
beer
we do a
in the
little,
tap room.
frankly, but
and you have to. But
yeah.
It's easier for me to, like, look at my little spreadsheet and be like, all right, well, it's like we can fudge this one into this category this way, like, and I don't have to care what anyone else thinks.
I feel like we could talk about that for quite a long time, but we're not. We're gonna move on. I mean, and I don't think we answered any questions, but what are you gonna do?
No, but I think everyone should charge less for beer if they can.
Yes,
right? No, totally.
I agree.
Yeah.
You create more buyers,
create more value for people. Like,
I agree,
and like.
I agree.
I don't know how to get younger people into drinking craft beer. I hope they just come around eventually to, like, understand the socio-political, economic advantages of having things made close to you, but maybe they won't.
I think the pendulum is swinging away from that right now. Hopefully it swings back.
It'll swing back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But value will help it in the meantime.
Yeah.
But then it'll swing back, and they'll also, the economy's totally F them, right, and that'll change, and hopefully.
Right now, it's Wonder Bread instead of high tech, though. It's like convenience. Convenience is now just king, and they'll pay whatever it takes and ruin everything in the name of
true.
Which is what happened with Wonder Bread. I mean, that's why there were no more bakeries,
right?
Because that was high tech, and look at it and how, like, high tech it was. Now we're going to do that, and we're all going to buy our bread this way, and then all the bread sucked, and then now you have bakeries again. So,
and I wonder when
maybe it'll happen.
When Doug was talking about how younger people don't quite understand why a brewery wouldn't sell their beer for a bunch less. Like, it's a generation of people who have mostly bought things that are like goods online in the era when the Chinese factory that was making it for Walmart is now just selling it to them directly on Amazon under, like, Goop leggings or whatever.
Or a
like
Facebook ad that looks like a real company, but it's really just
and they're like, well, like, if you're making it, it should be cheaper for me. And it's like, well, that's not how, like, economies are stable or work very well. But
trade policy has completely fucked their impression of the economy.
Totally.
Yeah, it's been a hobby horse of mine on my newsletter forever.
Yeah,
it's seriously, antitrust and trade policy have, like, completely warped our sense of how the world should function.
Right, and as you said, like, everyone wants workers to get paid more until it costs them more to buy the thing that we paid the workers for, right? And so there's an ease of cognitive dissonance there for someone commenting on an Instagram post or a TikTok to be like, beer's too expensive, and then also be like, yeah, but minimum wage should be higher. It's like, well, these two things don't exist in the same universe, right? Like, if the entity producing the thing has to pay the workers more, then the price of the thing goes up. Like, that's just basic economics. Yeah. And hopefully everyone's wages go up, right? Like, and then everyone can afford the thing going up, but that hasn't been the case for every iteration of price increases.
And just thinking of a personal example, because I live 4 blocks away from the beer temple here, there's something about the $5 Sierra Nevada Pale Ale pour that makes it top of mind, even though I don't even order it all that often. But just this, like, fuzzy feeling of that is an option, even if it's what I want to come in, I'm going to get blinded by all these other
yeah.
But knowing I could go cheaper in what's my actual tab is going to be, not anything against the beer, and I do order it sometimes, but most of the time I don't. But there's something about it being there as an option that's just, like, reassuring, and it's just, like, again, that value thing, even if it doesn't reflect my tab, because I order a much more expensive beer, and everyone I ordered, just having it there is like, a nice feeling.
I think I talked to you about it when we decided to do that, and it was essentially exactly that, knowing we were going to have a lot of expensive beers, but it allowed us to kind of explore in other directions if we had that as kind of an anchor that you could always go back to or just sit at. I tend to agree.
That's why we did the $4 bungalow, same exact reason. But I think I think the TikTok generation and all these commenters are talking about a feeling. It's a feeling that you're talking about that, like, if a brewery can just leave an impression on people that it's not expensive, that's the goal. It isn't even that it's like no one ever has to order this thing. It's like the impression is the important thing.
This might be a bad name, but I'd always said I wanted to call the menu like "We got you." Like, this is what you need. We got you. Like,
it's a feeling.
And when we break it all down, it's all about feeling, right? Like, certainly there's numbers behind stuff, but like it's all when it comes to customer interaction and like it's all about value, and value is feeling. And so like how people feel when you're in their space, like you can make a lot of value up by making them feel good by being in there, with lighting or with the way that you're like interacting with them. But it can also be like the financial, like when they get their check, they feel like they had a good time there. The value doesn't have anything necessarily to do with the amount of money they spent. It has to do with how they feel about the amount of money they spent.
Yeah. Well, we are running out of time, but I wanted to do one quick. I'm going to make this fast. A lighthearted romp of a topic. Mm-hmm. There was in Vine Pair. For once, we're not going to be. It's not going to be Dave and Infante. One of his articles, but there was an article by Rich Manning, which is one of these, essentially a glorified listicle. But a good enough one to get me to read it, maybe rage read it.
There we go.
And that's not true. But it was the most underrated beers. So I was thinking maybe we'll go through and all decide individually, like yes or no, is this beer underrated or not?
Of the ones that were on the
I'll go through them.
Okay.
And then some of them are styles, very broad. And then if we have any underrated beers that we want to add to it, we can do it. We'll go fast because we're running out of time here. Okay, first one, Hitachino Nest or Hitachino Nest. I'm not sure how to say it. They're white ale. What do you say?
Is it underrated, overrated, or I think accurately rated?
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like,
I'll go underrated. I don't hear anyone talk about it, and it's great beer.
It's great. It is great.
I think I'll kind of go between them. I don't hear anyone talk about it, but I do see it kind of everywhere still. It's like in all Whole Foods. It's like the big.
Yeah. You see
it's
it
like
on
the wit
menus at restaurants a lot. I say it's
every sushi restaurant is like a.
Yeah.
I'd say it's maybe under-known, but I think it's accurately rated. Like the people who know it, respect it. Who knows Hitachino White and is like, meh.
Yeah.
Which to me is like, that's underrated, right?
Rob Todd probably hates that.
What do you think? Yeah, probably. No, probably loves it. What do you think?
I said accurately rated.
Accurately rated.
Accurately rated. That's the first one.
Okay. The next one, Pacifico. I think that's absurd.
I think that's an overrated.
I think it's overrated. I think that beer is overrated.
Yeah, it's red hot right now, but it is overrated.
I am massively in the overrated camp. I will avoid that.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Never not disappointed when I get it.
Here's another one. This is from the brewing manager at Dogfish Head in Rehoboth Beach. Saison.
Underrated.
Underrated.
The most underrated. Most punk rock.
To me, the most underrated beer style is the humble Saison.
He's right.
Is what he says.
100%.
From simple ingredients emerges a complex matrix of enticing aromas and sophisticated flavors.
I'm saying.
Yeah, our Saisons underrated. Okay, I'm going to say they are accurately
That's bullshit,
rated.
Chris.
I'm going to say forever underrated.
There we go.
Forever underrated.
Massively underrated.
You think they're accurately rated?
For people who know Saison?
You can't say for people who know them. That's the point of it. Like,
that's the thing. Not enough people appreciate this thing. It's beautiful.
Got it.
It's got so much more appeal, so much broader appeal. When we used to do these, when beer fests were kind of everywhere, we'd have a crazy line snaking through the whole damn thing, and we were nobody, totally nobody. and it was because we had Robin on, and it tasted, and we let the beer go, yada yada, but it was just so starkly different from every other kiosk, right? It was all IPAs and stouts back then, and people were like, "Holy shit, this is beer! Craft beer can taste like this." People loved it, but they just don't have the opportunity to get exposed to it because they don't have an occasion.
Right.
I'm sticking to my guns. I'm gonna say
just
because something
rude.
I would say there are
Rude.
No, I love your beers. Like I don't know. Like we have saisons, we put them on all the time. People like them. I don't know. I do feel like there are other styles that people are like, oh man, you know what? I haven't had one. These are really good. I should give these a little bit more. No, nobody says about saison. Everyone knows they're great. That's how I feel about it. Okay, we'll move on. Someone says Paradise Park, an American lager from Urban South Brewing.
Sounds
really
underrated
say.
to me because I've never heard
Right.
of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just American lager. I don't know if anyone knows. Okay. We've got Rothaus. No, sorry, we're not there yet. West Coast IPA. Yes, that's true. Someone really did say that.
I think accurately
stylistically,
rated.
I'd point to the West Coast. I'd say, yeah, accurately rated for sure. That's what I think. But
Yeah, properly rated, I think.
how about you? What do you say?
Overrated.
Overrated. Okay.
Doug?
Properly rated.
Okay. Rothaus. This is from Tim Adams, owner of Oxbow. Said Rothaus, and
He thinks Roundhouse is underrated.
underrated, most underrated. And here he says,
I do love
this
Rothaus.
is so. I'll read what his reasoning for it. Determining whether a beer is underrated is inherently subjective unless you take a literal approach and consult the data. So I did some sleuthing, and blah blah blah. I looked up a personal favorite, Rothaus, and despite being widely regarded by professionals as among the best in class, it sits at a 3 out of 5 on Untapped. Meanwhile, many local German Pilsners in the Northeast score higher. I tasted several of them. I'd argue none surpass the Rothaus.
I mean, fair assessment.
Elitist. So elitist.
Yeah. Well, he's him saying like a 3 out of 5 is bad on Untapped, and that like Joe Schmo making a Pilsner in Stowe shouldn't get a higher rating.
That's a problem.
I cannot say that Rothaus is underrated.
I probably agree with that, but the idea that Untapped should be the arbiter of what is good and bad, while probably accurate for... we literally had a call with a distributor in Portland today that was like, wow, you guys have 1,400 on tap and you guys have a 4 rating. That's good. And I'm like, okay, great.
Right.
It helps, but
Sure, you'll take it.
It should not be the arbiter of what is and is not.
Right.
Underrated.
I mean, for us, obviously, I am not going to say it's underrated because when we brought it in, like, we'd never seen a beer sell like that ever.
Right.
People were buying it 2 cases
And that
at a time.
wasn't obviously not because of the Untapped rating. It was just because people wanted to crush them and they were depressed because they couldn't go outside.
Right. So I'm going to say not underrated. I'm going to say accurately rated. People who know Rothaus like Rothaus.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say accurately rated because I think, of the people that I know, like, think it's great and it is great.
I mean, we just had it on like last week,
that,
and people were excited that it was on.
Yeah, the idea is that like
sound like
Untapped says it's a 3. Yeah, that's underrated. But
I'm also, I think what I realized when reading this article was I'm so far down the rabbit hole that I don't know if this is at all relevant.
It's not for
to me.
you.
Is honestly, that's really what I thought. I scrolled down and I was like, what?
Brother,
and then at the end I was like, this article's not for me.
We do a podcast critiquing beer news. No article is for us. It's about us.
True. All right. Has anyone weighed in on Rothaus?
I can jump in. Factoring in that I live, again, 4 blocks from the Hype Factory locally for this beer, I'm actually going to go overrated.
Okay.
Because it was introduced to me by the Beer Temple, and I think I do like it, but I don't like it more than, say, Trumer Pils, which is cheaper, easily more available. I love the packaging. I love the brand, but to me, it is overrated.
That's very fair. I was
know what, that is fair in that regard.
I was a big Raw House stan, and then I had a blind tasting here where I didn't love it as much apparently, and then did my own little blind tasting at the bar when you had Trumer and that on, and I liked Trumer better.
I did the same thing too.
It's that damn gold foil.
The gold foil makes
the
everything
branding
taste
is
so much
amazing.
better. Yeah,
which is why I think
it's incredible.
Isn't that what I said a couple weeks ago? Someone has to do the gold foil because someone's going to kill with gold foil. Okay, did you weigh in?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
If my old man. I think of the market a little differently. I think, and
okay.
I think this is accurately rated because he doesn't know it and he shouldn't because it's pretty good.
Right,
but.
I said accurately rated.
It's really good, but it's just he shouldn't know it, and he doesn't.
Okay, so the next two, I believe two very underrated styles nowadays are barrel-aged stouts and barley wines, which is interesting. I mean, this is, I'll read a little bit into this one, too. They've waned in popularity over the last decade. And because they don't sell as fast. Yeah.
It's a long period
like hazy IPA or light lager.
A lot has happened.
And many breweries seeking cost-effective strategies, blah, blah, blah. I'd personally love to see a resurgence in these. Yeah, so.
Overrated.
Overrated?
Yeah.
Got it.
Still. I know they've waned, but for me personally, just overrated.
Got it.
I'll jump in. Big time overrated. You can drink less of them. They are not, the communal beers that you go through a bunch of with your friends and over a course of many. Overrated.
I say they are overrated, but it's getting pretty close. Okay. I think it's getting pretty close. Where in a couple years, I think they're going to be accurately rated. I think they're well on their way. Yeah,
I would say they're there. I would say they're there again. Thinking about the mark, I mean, maybe I'm thinking about the market the same, or maybe I'm thinking about it differently. But if I zoom out, nobody who's not a craft beer fan is buying a 12% barley wine at a fucking restaurant. It's just like they are completely no one. If they're waning in popularity, that's right, and they should be, and they serve a very unique purpose. And
we need to.
I'm actually very close to Pete. I'm like just a smidge, and then I'm with him. I'm very close.
I think they're not going to be great again until we anticipate them again. Now we're inundated with them, and I think we have to lose a lot of them.
Yes,
and we have to miss them.
Yes.
To then crave them, so that when they come out, we're like,
right.
We're excited instead of like already. It's already that time. That's how the feeling I get now. It's like, geez, it is that time of year.
You used to talk about this thing that would go like this, and then it would a big old bubble, and then the bubble recedes, and then it lands in this realistic place. And it feels like to me like it's maybe receding, and maybe it's a little, who knows where it is on that graph, but it's going to land somewhere that's like appropriate pretty soon.
I also think about the occasion for that, and obviously I'm getting older, and when I think about if I'm going to drink like a Bourbon County Stout, or would I just drink bourbon? That's the same occasion now. I'm like, well, if I open that, I have to drink 16 ounces of that.
That's nuts.
Or I can just drink like 2 ounces of that, put the cork back in it, and put it back on the shelf. And like that trade-off is real for me.
And it's easy.
Yeah, I'm trying to wake up at least by 7:30. Not trying to be.
What if
Most craft
Bourbon
beer
County
fans are.
made the kegs like that they make Two Hearted in, and Hop Slam? That's like mini kegs.
Yeah, but
what if you could buy Bourbon County in that, so you could make like a people?
But you're pulling oxygen into it. Like you have to put CO2 in it.
Pressure.
I don't hate that, but it would take me like a month and a half of drinking it every
little
day.
bottles. I'm cool with little bottles of it. I think
little bottles.
Goose Island did
even littler bottles.
Right, and we sold out of all of that. I mean, and people wanted more, and people still are coming asking for that one. I will say that this year. Schlenkerla Helles. I will say accurately rated.
Yeah,
completely accurate.
Perfectly rated. Like,
I mean, anyone who
the
knows
people that
about
like it love it, and the people that don't want to know about it will not like it.
People who don't like it hate it
like
because it's a smoke beer.
Pete, if you think about like what your dad thinks about beers, he should not know about.
No,
this
he
beer.
shouldn't.
He would be like, this beer sucks.
But this does make me like, this is a question maybe for Doug, but it like Doug and maybe Chris, but to go back to the pair, but I wonder, like, it's like I'm watching restaurants and pizza restaurants specifically, like all these classic joints coming back, and like, because you can only be an influencer around new restaurants for like a year and a half until you've hit them all, and so like all the classics are like getting their turn. They have been for about a year maybe, and who knows how long it'll last. Will beer brand, like, is beer already in that? Is Rothaus kind of an example of that?
That one's slightly. It's on a parallel path, I think.
Well, like say Saint Dupont have, or like this is
right.
This feels like one of those that
yes.
It's great fucking beer. I probably had it 3 times, but I do love it. But I just don't get it ever.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's actually rated, but I could see it being underrated in the sense that it could be one of those beers that has a.
Yeah, there's totally a generation of people who are into beer and like identify as being into beer, but got into beer when hazy IPA was like the only style, and still now are discovering like, wait, what? There's like a smoky.
Have you heard of La
lager?
Chouffe?
Yeah, totally.
Right,
no, totally.
Yeah.
Like those are like the new things that people that are like 26, 28, like not even super young, are like figuring out. Like, and they were like 21, 22 if they were getting into beer.
That's exciting
like,
too.
Yeah. We see some of those people swinging through the tap room where they're like, what is this thing? Yeah. Some of them just don't hate. Some of us hate it. We've had people like that are 22 walk in like they were when we were on lists for like best new bar in Chicago or whatever. They would walk in and like think they were going to a club and immediately turn around and leave.
Yeah, like we've made a huge
can I use
mistake.
your bathroom?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, last one is as a broad style English beer. So I'm guessing they're saying.
So you wrote this,
right?
Yeah,
No, I don't know. But so I guess he's saying like milds and bitters. They do special ales, cask pours. Okay.
Using Pete's criteria, underrated. I think your dad would enjoy a mild.
You're right. We put these on, and once in a while, and people who have no idea what beer is order them and love them and ask us what the fuck it is, and order 3 more, and they come back 3 days later for more, and then they come back 4 weeks later, and they're like, "Where'd all your beer go?" Because the single mild
the beer
is
I
gone.
liked.
Yeah.
My dad regularly reminds me he likes an amber ale, which I've never seen him drink an amber ale in his entire life.
Right.
But like that's his idea of like what beer is supposed to be, and I think there's a lot of people who like a very quiet group of people who like want that.
It's like a beer flavored beer, but it's like the next level after like just a very pale
and
lager.
I also think there's a lot of space for malty things that aren't super sweet.
Yeah.
Like people want things that drink relatively sweet but also very drinkable.
Yeah.
And that those beers hit that really, really well.
Yeah, I'll agree. They're underrated.
Yeah,
I think so.
Underrated. Doug, what do you think?
Slightly 2 ways. I think milds are underrated, and I think bitters are overrated. I just think milds are like a perfect gateway beer, and I think bitters are a little or not. I don't think the audience of bitters is.
I agree with that.
But I think
I disagree.
Milds, I think, can just pull anybody and say, "Oh, well, I like this."
Yeah.
And I don't think bitters have that effect.
I'm with you.
I strongly disagree. I do. I think bitters are, for as much as I've joked and done stuff around milds, I think overall a bitter is a more approachable, more drinkable style. Overall. That's just me. Not an ESB, but like a low.
Just a regular, unspecial.
Like an ordinary bitter. Okay. Does anyone have... I'm only going... Let's go... Well, no. We can do it the same way. You can do it styles. You can do specific beers if you want, or you can have none. I have one that I just thought of now. I think Edmund Fitzgerald is a underrated beer.
Sure.
I think that beer is amazing. I think it does well year-round. I think people who drink it really like it. And it just doesn't seem to get, like... the praise that it should, I think. That's one. I could probably have many of these, but that's one that I had.
I mean, Saison, obviously.
Saison.
I agree with Dogfish Head's production manager.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, like, moderate strength stouts, but I feel like Guinness. Yeah. But then I thought about Guinness, and I was like, no.
What about the American stout, then?
Yeah, like the moderate strength American stout, where there's some, like, hop character to it.
Yeah.
I think that's an underrated style.
Got it. Yeah. Similar to, like, an American porter. I mean, not exactly, but similar.
Yeah. Yeah, not
the American stout, Obsidian, and
non-imperial stout that still has like some bitterness to it.
Like either Obsidian, would you say?
Either from roasted malt. I wouldn't. I mean, that's like that's on the upper end of the hoppy scale of what I'm talking about. But
got it.
But yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have beers for styles? No. Everything else is perfect.
I'm also saying table beer.
Yeah, I actually was going to go in that direction. I think my favorite beer that we've ever made is a 3.1% Belgian table beer. It's a Saison, it's a Saison strain. But it's like a lot of the Saison notes, but really light and extremely dry and a pinch tart. Like the acidity presents itself a little more. So you get like a little bit of, you get the sour people a little bit, I don't know. I love that style. I think it should be like a effing lager, in the world. But, and I think people, and that's also, it's funny to talk about old men, since we started with your birthday. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm an old man.
It was your birthday. Yeah.
23.
Yeah. So my wife's dad, my father-in-law, drinks natural light, pretty much only natural light, and he had this beer and was like, fucking crack 3 more, like
of the table beer.
Of this table beer, this 3.1%, it's lightly tart, a little bit acidic, a little bit saisonic, That style I wish we made it more, and I wish people made it more, and I wish it was just around.
My Dylan's father-in-law is like a UP homesteader and brought a bunch of bourgeois daydreams up to his like
the
homestead.
Guys.
And he only drinks Coors Light too, and he's like, "No, give me some of that good beer."
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
They like that stuff.
But he hates Bungalow, our like house lager. It's 4.3%. It's way too much flavor, way too much shit in it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Other styles I could do. I think Hefeweizens are underrated right now and have been for a little while. Yeah, I've said this a bunch before, but I think Dunkel lagers are underrated. I think like they just hit so many spots and people could really like them, but just nobody really cares about them, or even people who know.
There's things that are going extinct too, where they're like,
they're
if someone
like
wants to
beer.
know, if someone wants to know about that, they can't just like go and get one here.
Right.
Even
right.
It's like, well, maybe someone here will make one,
sure,
and make 15 barrels of it, and then it will be
and
gone.
maybe maybe. Yeah. So those are.
Do you remember Gozas, where everyone made a Goza for a minute? But
right.
also alt beer, like the first off color beer, Scurry, right? It was
Scurry.
so fucking good and so well timed. And alt beer had like another quick minute for like maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something, didn't it? Maybe it was 7 or 8 years ago, but it was post Scurry, and that's a great. I mean, that's a great style. But is it underrated? It's a stretch.
Here's one I think
Yes,
is overrated.
It's definitely underrated.
Grzycki. I don't know if I've ever had a Grzycki that I've really liked.
You just like threw hands at Poland. They're gonna come. My buddies in Poland,
whatever.
They want us to have our slushy beer. They're very upset with you right now.
They're gonna cancel your
They're
appearance.
very upset with you right now.
Right. Well.
And like I can't. This is not.
I gotta call it as I say.
Everyone at Beer Geek Madness, I did not say that. Don't get mad at me. That was Chris.
Well, when you go, you're going to tell me the best beers you had there, and I'll wait for that long list of Grzyckis that you've had. That each one was a banger, and then another banger,
No, it's
and
gonna be
another
all,
banger.
It's gonna be all the Sante Darius beers where I'm just like standing there. Hey, remember when you guys made this say that?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Do you have any of that?
What's
No?
their one?
I'll go back to my.
What's their heavy hitter one?
Bernice.
Yeah, Bernice. But there's one that has like apricot in it.
Oh, West Ashley?
Yeah, West Ashley. Yeah, that's their kind of.
I'm sure
their
they'll
banger.
bring that. They have even higher on tap score than we do. So,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Crazy.
Wow. Maybe I will go out. We are.
Hey, it's under $500 to fly to Poland right now. So
we are over time, so we have to get a move on. I appreciate everyone for sticking around. They had really no choice unless they wanted to make a scene, kind of. But thanks to our guests, Nostra Douglas, a.k.a. the beer aficionado, a.k.a. Doug Veliky, and Pete doesn't have any nom de beers yet. But do you? You don't have any beery nicknames, do you?
No, nothing.
Yeah, you haven't been on the show enough.
No.
We'll have to we
haven't degraded you into nicknames yet.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Thank you, too.
Yes, absolutely. Is there anything anyone would like to say before we get out of here? No?
Demand value.
Demand value. There you have it.
Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard, seen from again. Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard, seen from again. Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said.